Hello, folks. Greetings from Google Helsinki
And Yousician Helsinki.
yeah. I'm Juhantalo. I work at Google as an industry manager, heading the gaming, apps, and fintech clients here in Finland.
I'm Miika. I head user acquisition at Yousician. Let's go to that soon.
Yeah. So, Miika, in the spirit of Slush, I'm gonna challenge you into a pitching competition.
This comes totally unprepared, so let's play the video first.
What?
Yousician is the best way to learn, practice, and master the guitar. Just grab your acoustic or electric and play along. Yousician listens to you play and gives instant feedback on accuracy and timing. Fun and addictive gameplay tracks your progress and keeps you motivated. Whether you're a complete beginner or an advanced professional, you can follow amazing expert-designed courses that guide you with tutorials, songs, and exercises. And you can upload your own songs, so you can play the music you love. And teachers can give their students exactly what they need. So download the free app and get jamming with Yousician.
That was exactly 30 seconds, right?
Looks like I lost. Hey,
Well,
let's give it another try.
Yes.
I'll give you 30 seconds. Tell me. So tell me why Yousician is the best way to learn the guitar.
Well,
I'll then respond with why Google is the best tool to go global. Okay?
All right. So with every plausible solution, there's obviously always a problem. If the solution works, it fixes a problem. In our case, the problem is lack of motivation for self-learners or students in music schools. And what Yousician does really well, it keeps you motivated to practice more, so you get the high score, you hit all the notes, and gamifying education really, I guess, is what it all comes down to.
Cool. And guys, we'll let you to vote. Who's the winner? I think I've got a pretty bad challenge here. My 30 seconds. Google has 7 properties with over 1 billion monthly active users. And we capture consumers in the moments of intent when people let us know what their wants and needs are. And these moments are really highly valuable commercial moments for companies like Yousician to capitalize on. Okay, guys, who votes for Miika?
I got at least my
That's
vote.
like 10. Yeah, and me?
2. Yes!
Oh no!
Congratulations on the second place.
Yeah, that was easily guessable. Miika, Yousician's been growing like hell. How many of you know Yousician? Show me your hand.
Cool.
Yeah.
Some people don't. Good.
Exactly. We've got some work to do. So, tell me a bit about Yousician in numbers. Where are you at?
Yes, so we have 2 products, Yousician and Guitar Tuna. Currently, those 2 combined, we're a little bit north of 50 million in downloads. We're available for Windows, Mac, Linux, iOS, and Android. 4 instruments: guitar, piano, bass, and ukulele. To date, on Yousician players have played 250 million songs. I forget the note count somewhere, but
In billions?
600 years of music has been played, and that's excluding menu navigation time. That's just playing music through Yousician. More?
Quite amazing figures. When I look at you, I think you're one of the most amazing companies right now in Finland. Quite recently, you upscaled your office a bit. You've got a pretty fancy office in Hakaniemi in Helsinki with some 50-odd Yousicians working there. It's been quite a ride since 2011 when former Yousician Ovelin won the Slush 100 pitch competition. And you've come a long way. What do you think, looking back, has been the key to your success?
Well, it would come down to probably 2 things. First of all, focus. We started in 2010 to teach kids how to play guitar with wild chords. We then iterated on that in 2013. We launched Guitar Bots, again kids game for learning to play guitar, but also now teaching real guitar tablature, the standard notation for guitar music. We launched Guitar Tuna around that time as well, and 2014, end of the year, we rebranded to Yousician, launched our namesake products, and until we knew that we got guitar right, we launched our next instrument. We're now 4 instruments, so piano came after. String instruments are very similar to guitar, but focusing on one thing, making that one thing work, and then going on to the next piece.
Yeah, you had a pretty specific way in making sure focus is there.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah, so we introduced this concept called the key at Yousician, which literally is a key about that big, a big metal key. And every sprint, we prioritize our tasks based on what's going to move the needle for Yousician users or the company, or based on whatever our target is at that point. And wherever that bottleneck is in fixing that one thing, let's say we are working on our onboarding, the developer who starts gets the key, and the key is basically the dictator of Yousician for that time. No one can go bother the key. The key can go bother anyone. The key decides where to go for lunch. If the key wants coffee, the key gets coffee. Morning stand-ups wait for the key, and so on. So not in the sense that it's an actual dictator, more a little bit of a joke there as well, but to bring a little bit of fun to the working environment, focusing on one thing, who's going to move this thing forward, how do we do the next 2 days, that person gets the key. We introduced this, we had this running for about a year. Now we've been running it again as a slightly larger team, but it's a great way to align everyone in the company around one task, focusing on that one thing. Another aspect of that, we work in small autonomous teams where that team in charge of their area makes the decisions on what they're going to be doing next, what's going to move their area forward the most, and what's the easiest, what's the most difficult next projects. And that autonomy, the sense of responsibility for what you're doing, and ownership of what you're doing is what makes us great, I guess.
Hey, what a nice story. I mean, when I ask about the key to your success, it's focus, and you've clearly figured out a way to embed focus into your culture. So, Miika, if I look at the gaming and app scene, your app stands out number one in the sort of complexity for user acquisition, because you've got 5 platforms you work with, Mac, PC, iOS, Android, Linux. Yeah.
Yes.
And you drive user acquisition across over, how many markets? You got users in over 200 markets.
How many countries are there?
Yeah, with a country code.
Yeah.
I think
Right about that.
I think you said you got users in North Korea.
Yes.
Yes.
A login.
So, everywhere, right.
I haven't checked recently, but yeah.
So it just gives you a pretty good image of the vast amount of data you have to work with. So could you elaborate a bit on how you think about managing data?
Well, data's really it's a pool for answers to your questions. How we manage data, we seek to, whatever hypotheses we have, we seek to measure everything that we know, everything that we test, everything we build, we seek to measure so that we know, are we doing the right thing? For example, looking at basic conversion optimization from signups to first user experience, experiencing the app, how do we determine if that was successful or not? In user acquisition particularly, this comes down to how do we measure our LTV, how do we measure our ROI, how do we optimize our campaigns based on metrics that we have. Data is a great source of answers, but I think the tricky part is getting the questions right.
Yeah? You're quite quick in making decisions, right?
Well, small autonomous teams that decide what they do. So if we have a question and we know how to answer that question, we don't need to talk to anyone else. We just go figure it out.
Yeah. But you must, looking at the complexity that we just described, you must have a big team, right?
We're 3 in user acquisition, but we're hiring as well. So we're
Yeah.
based here in Helsinki.
Yeah. Cool. So YouTube's clearly been important for your success. Basically, you've taught us at Google how YouTube can actually be a really commercial driver for someone's business. Could you tell a bit about how you see YouTube working for you?
Well, YouTube's maybe traditionally an advertising scene, or has been seen. I guess now it's changing pretty fast, but has been seen more of as a media in relation to TV, where people are consuming video content. Hence, let's put the same advertisements that we're running on TV on YouTube. But we looked at it a little differently. YouTube, despite the fact that it has 1 billion monthly active users over whatever,
Yeah.
it's actually built up of small communities that are very dedicated to what content they're producing and what content they're consuming as well. YouTube's made up of small, let's say for example, you look at the lifestyle categories on YouTube, look at how many dedicated makeup tutorial videos you see, or guitar learning tutorial videos you see, or whatever other category. And those people that consume that content on a regular basis. And the way you can target advertisements based on topics, based on a user's intent to learn or consume certain products, has been great for us.
Yeah. Try watching a video on how to play the guitar. There's a high probability that you'll see an ad from these guys, and it's working for them. But it's not just bluntly targeting everyone. We use quite a bit of machine learning in our cooperation. Machine learning in the higher context is really picking up real quick in Google as a whole. And at Slush, I hear almost half of the startups pitch some sort of an element of AI or machine learning in their car. So how do you, Miika, see machine learning working for you within user acquisition?
Well, the future of user acquisition is AI. What is it, 5-10 years from now? Let's say 5. You can quote me on that 5 years later. I have no idea, but
yeah, it's accelerating. So
yes.
It's close.
The direction is that rather than setting up where you want to show your advertisement, you simply define your message and your creative, and you let the computer, machine, or Google learn where that works best based on your metrics. And how we're doing this now is we have different our user journeys, funnel steps, events triggered as conversion events to our advertisers, our advertising partners, and we have a target cost per acquisition per each event that we optimize per geo. And also, when we set these target cost per acquisitions for certain events, the algorithms and the machine learning behind ad platforms does the optimization for us. So we don't need to go in and look at every single potential ad placement we could be displaying our advertisements on, but we can also allow now, with much more comfortability, I guess, to allow machine learning to take over ad targeting.
Yeah. So and quite recently, you also started experimenting with our universal app campaigns, which is pretty much to the extreme in this space, where you only add a creative, few lines of text, make sure the signals from your backend are bolted in. What sort of experiences do you have with that fully automized, machine learning based advertising?
Well, first of all, I guess at this point it's very intimidating.
Yeah.
Where you don't
think about media agencies. Hey,
yeah.
what are they to do?
Exactly. I mean, well, like you said, you define a few lines of copy, you define your ad creative, and the algorithms learn where your advertisements have the best response. Um, that's where the world is going right now. It's not just Google; it's all around. But Google's doing a hell of a job
Yeah,
right now.
got that right. Miika, yeah, it's been quite a journey for you guys, expanding real rapid. You've added instruments. You got 4 now. You've grown your user base globally. Your app is just in English today, so obviously localization is somewhere further down the road. But what do you see, sort of, what's next for Yousician?
Well, our mission is to make musicality as common as literacy. If you look back 500 years from now, literacy was seen as something you did not expect, or how would I know? I haven't been there. But it was not expected that everyone would learn to read or write or know how to read or write. Currently, we're at the same state with musicality or playing a musical instrument. It's not expected that everyone can play, or I think there's even this negative aspect of this now where people are told that they're not musical. Musicality is learned. It's not something that comes from a person. It comes from passion, really, and that passion is something you can build. For us, what does that mean in the next 5 years? You mentioned a few low-hanging fruits in terms of what we could be doing, but how do we make the world a more musical place? Today, we're handing out 3,000 ukuleles over there at our stand. If you didn't get one yet, I think the line was about 100 meters long just half an hour ago. That's one way of doing it. But for us, what it really comes down to is spreading the love for music, allowing others to experience the musical or the musician in themselves. Be it playing a single note with an app, but in your head, through your headphones, you have the full band right behind you. That's quite immersive.
Truly is. Bold Vision, great company. Miika, great company. Thank you.
Thank you.
I leave it to you guys for questions. How are we with time? Yeah, we're good. Hey, we got someone. I'll give you the mic.
Hi, sorry, and thank you. That was very interesting. So, what do you do exactly? Sorry, my attention span is like 5 seconds after last night's partying. So, do you use YouTube for teaching music stuff?
So, Yousician's an app that teaches you to play a musical instrument. The app listens through the device's microphone to what you're playing. You have music notation rolling on the screen for guitar, guitar tablature, for piano standard notation. And if you play the right note, the note turns green. If you play the wrong note, it turns red. Simple as that. Then you're put on a leaderboard for how well you did. You get a little bit of feedback for what you could improve on.
Yeah, I'd say it's musical learning gamified in a really simple and nice fashion, also not socialized, but social enabled. Yeah.
And it works with any real instrument, acoustic or electric. You can either plug in an electric guitar, or you could play it through your amp, or play with an acoustic instrument. And yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
try it out.
3,000
ukulele and
ukuleles.
try it out.
Yeah, and the app is freemium. Yeah.
Yes. So about 20 minutes of free playtime every day. That's roughly what you would experience in a real 45-minute music teacher lesson as well. So actually playing the instrument. On a premium subscription, you have unlimited playtime and a few additional features as well. So.
Cool. Hey, super. Another question.
So, can you open a bit about the psychology to get people to pay?
Well, to get someone to pay you, or they really want what you have, right? In our apps. So, well, when you start playing and you get into it, you don't really want to stop. And we put an artificial barrier in between to make us a viable business so that we can scale to others as well. Psychology of how to make people pay, I guess it very much depends on what they're paying for. In this case, they're paying for their own time, their alone time at home when they're with a musical instrument, and they want more of that. So
Yeah.
I hope that answered the question somewhat.
Yeah, I mean, I like the way you put it, because you're competing for the attention space, and if your user base would be more willing to pay for your service, or going to the movies, going to the theater, paying for making something, doing something else in their free time.
We're in the attention economy. Everything, we're competing with everyone. Everyone's competing with everyone, be it Netflix or Spotify, or be it soccer, or arts club, or playing music, with or without musician. So, just going on about the topic here. Yep. Thanks.
Hey, super. Third question.
There are so many apps out there. So when you were starting off, how did you promote your app and your idea and your logo and name and so on to get like people to notice you and to get here, for example? And how long did that take?
Well, we started with wild chords in 2011. Back then, our marketing efforts were very much on how can we get a lot of people without paying any money. We then moved into trying out advertising and finding what kind of people do, or what kind of people use Yousician or guitar bots that we had at that time, or what kind of people could use our products, and where can we find them? What are they doing right now? What are we potentially replacing, and going there to that. There isn't really a general, this is how you do it. It depends on what you're doing and what those people that you want to be using your product are doing. If you have a game, it's very different from if you're providing education to if you're providing cloud services or advertising services. So just knowing who your customer is and where are they, how can you find them, how can you excite them to try out your product or app.
Yeah, and if I reflect a bit on that, what I've learned from working with you, it's a lot about making a constant hypothesis on where those users could be, and be consistently testing and learning from data.
Yeah, so if your users are on forums, go there. If they're on IRC, go there. If they're on Facebook, go there. They're probably on Facebook, so go there anyways. If they're on Google, you should already be there. Yeah. Sorry about that, Juho.
It's okay. Anyone else? Hey. Keep them coming.
I'm on a roll.
Great.
Hey, so do the teachers use them also? Is it more individuals who buy it?
Well, the majority of our users are learning by themselves, but we also have schools using Yousician in class, in group lessons, or also in private lessons. And this actually came initiated by teachers who had found Yousician elsewhere, and then they incorporated our product into their own teaching. And we started getting feedback that, hey, it would be nice if I could have this kind of feature in the app so I could work with my students better. It could be nice if I could, give them homework on Yousician. And now they can. You can invite your students, as a teacher, you can invite your students to Yousician. You can assign them homework, And you can also see what they played. You can see how well they played. You can see how long they played. And you can assign, okay, now, this week you need to earn 50 stars. You need to master this song. You need to play through this mission. Just play through it. Doesn't matter the score or how many stars you get. And it's also a way for students to keep motivated or to stay motivated outside of the lesson environment to play. And what we've actually noticed with schools, there was a school in Australia that we worked with that started using Yousician. A teacher incorporated Yousician into his lessons. And this is a music school of 100 music teachers. And each teacher is teaching every afternoon 2-3 lessons of 5 to 30 students per lesson. So this one teacher picked up Yousician, and his class was the only class in that school, in the school's history, that every student continued after summer holidays. Yes. And also in Australia, they apparently have this standardized music examination for music school, something that in Finland we have, for example, the conservatorium environment, but there it's standardized and it's national. And in that standardized examination, that teacher's class that he'd been using Yousician with scored on a range from 0 to 100, scored about 20 points higher than the school's average for that class's average. And I think now they rolled out Yousician to the whole school. So yes, we have teachers using Yousician as well.
Yeah. So I really urge you guys to have a look at Yousician on Facebook. Have a look at Yousician on YouTube. There's incredible stories from the users, from their parents, from teachers.
From their parents. Look.
Yeah.
There's a few videos I would really like to show you on our YouTube channel. Parents' testimonials about their kids' learning experience. Go check it out on our channel, please.
Yeah. Cool. Do we still have time for one question? Yeah? One question? Okay. Anyone want to shoot? Yeah, go.
Somehow getting the tracking of guitar chords right has been the holy grail. I've had the Roland guitar hex mix since the 80s, and everybody's tried and failed. So do you still feel hardware limited, or can you do everything you want on the devices that consumers have?
So do you mean devices that Yousician's running on, or?
Yeah, can you track what you want to track as fast as you would like to do it?
Well, if you can hear something, a computer can hear it as well. A device, a smartphone's microphone might not be able to pick up the lowest or the highest frequencies, but whatever the instruments we have now and instruments that people typically tend to listen to are in a frequency range that a computer can hear. In terms of technology, how our audio technologies is we're good.
Yeah, Miika, tell about the engineers. Tell about their background a bit. Yeah.
Sorry?
Tell about your engineering department's background and knowledge.
Yeah. So our now we call it the R&D team background. There is an audio technology, digital signal processing, and basically analyzing sound and eliminating one example that's an interesting example of what they've been working on. So when a device's speaker shoots a sound out of the device, the microphone picks it up as well. So how do we hear the guitar that's a meter away from the device? And through crosstalk cancellation, basically we can predict what's going to come through the microphone, or know what's going to come through the microphone input, and basically null that input so that we can hear the instrument. So that's what the guys are working on. I'm blown away every week. I'm doing kiddie stuff compared to them. Marketing automation versus digital signal processing.
Yeah, I like it that way too. Okay, so thanks everyone. Give an applause to Miika, please. Well, yeah.